Hello, this is Rob from Rins Models. Just like to say a big thank you to all my subscribers, all your comments as well. Really do appreciate it. And a big thank you as well for taking part in my first premiere. Really do appreciate it. So here we're carrying on construction of the lower hull. Just doing a bit of photo etch. Really nice photo etch this is. Bends nice. So if you just follow where the lines are, bends really nice. Ideally, if you've got one, you use one of these bending tools. They really do make it easier. There's two of these to do. I think there's about 4 bends you've got to do on this. Oh, it's not too bad. So, as you can see, dead simple. There's not a lot of photo etch in this kit. I'd say there's probably about 10 parts that photo etch. So I'm just lining it up, clamp it down, and then use my knife just to bend it. Okay. So there's two, like I said, there's 2 of them. Just squaring it up, making sure all the gaps are closed. Okay, so that's that bit folded. All I'm using is just glue, super glue from the pound shop. It's really good glue. And there's little marks on the part there, so you know where to glue them. I had to, there were some ejector pin marks on there. So all I've done, I just quickly sanded them off and filled the holes. There's some holes where I had to fill in. And then also there's another little piece to glue in as well. Well, that's plastic, that part is. So there you go. There's them 2. I'm just holding it while the glue dries. I have got some accelerator, but you don't see me do, but just out of shot, I'll just spray it with it. So that's it. This is this part I'm gluing on here is the top piece, and there's like all little hole rivets on it. So it'll only glue on one way as well. When I've got it glued on, it's really detailed. I'll just line it. There's like 2 little tabs on there, and there's 2 little grooves on the bigger piece. You just line them up and then run your glue down it. So there we go, that's got it. Excuse me. And then just make sure this ends in right. Just make sure it's square. And there you go. And then what I do then is just run the glue down it, just to make sure. We'll lay capillary down. Well, what you don't want to do is sand the top, because you'll lose all the detail. So it's best to do your sanding first before you attach it. You can just make the ejector pins out there, but they have been filled. I used a bit of super glue just to fill them. Right, now we're working on the fans now. So these are just two parts I'm gluing on. They're both the same, so you can't get them the wrong way. You just got to make sure you haven't got them upside down. Well, the instructions are really clear, and there's two little tabs as well where to glue them. Okay, so that's that piece. And then we've got to fit the fans in as well. Right, these are the fans I'm doing now. There's two parts on each one. I have dry fitted these before I put the glue on, just to make sure everything fits okay. No problems at all. And then all they do then, they'll just push in. I don't glue them in. These parts are gluing, not the actual fans. I don't glue in. Really nice kit. But like I said in my last video, it's my first amusing hobby kit, and I'm really enjoying it. It's a really nice. The plastic's lovely to work with. Its sand's really nice. It's great. It really is a nice kit. The only trouble I've had is a few ejector pin marks, which I've had to get rid of. But nothing a swipe of the sanding stick can't cure. And the real deep ones, I'll just fill it. But there, I'm just putting the actual fans in there. Well, like I said, I don't glue these in because they are quite a tight fit. There we go. And I'll just do the other side the same. So let me know what you think of the kit. Let me know your thoughts. Have you built a amusing hobby kit yourselves, or if not, I can recommend them. Okay, so now we're gluing more parts together. Right, this is the motor. There's only one of these, and this goes on the back end. And you can just see how with the black pen I've just put the part numbers, just so I know I'm the right way around. So there we go, look. A bit of wiring. This is all the same colour as well, but the actual wiring I'm gluing in now, I'll paint with the paintbrush because it's a different colour. It's a really nice fit. Again, make sure you get it the right way. You don't want them upside down. But the instructions are really clear. Right, these are just a couple of little pieces now. I'm putting there on the ends. They're both the same as well, so it doesn't matter which way they go. But on the end, on the one end, you got a little pin and a little hole, and then you just line it up. Okay, so just dropped it where there it is. If you've got no tweezers, you just invest in some, because they do make life a lot easier. So there we go. Okay, so that's that bit. Now I was looking everywhere in the box for these, for the two ends, and I've looked at every sprue, I could not find them, and then I realised that they're made out of clear, on the clear parts. So I went through the sprues 2 or 3 times trying to find the pieces. And I didn't realise, like I said, I didn't realise they were the clear parts. But you can't, there's nothing to see inside, so I'm not too worried about the glue getting on the plastic, because they're going to be sprayed anyway. Okay, so there, that's that bit finished now. Nice little assembly. Right, this is where I've got to now. Everything's dry fitted. There's nothing been glued in yet. Nice, the engines are really detailed as well. Right, now we're starting on the sides now. This is the outside I'm working on. And on the back of this little part I've just put in, there is some raised ejector pin marks. So just make sure you sand them down before you put the parts together. Now we're still working. This is the, what's the name now? This is the inside I'm working on now. That's the side. That's the back side piece I'm fitting. Now them 3 little parts sticking up is where the turret bit, the top piece, glued to. Okay, so I'll clamp it and glue it. And again, the same again, there's some ejector pin marks on the back of these parts. So all I do is a quick swipe with a sanding stick and they're gone. And you ain't got to be worrying about being too rough, because you're not going to see it. Right, this is the opposite side now. Again, just check your parts, make sure there's nothing going to ejector pin marks or anything that can stop the fit. You want it dead flat. So that's the front side I'm doing there. And there's a couple of plastic clear parts that go in there. So again, this is the back side piece I'm doing. You can only get these one way as well, you can't get them wrong. There's little holes where they line up. Again, I'm just clamping it till the glue dries. And then run your glue around the edges just to make sure you've got it. Again, this is the front again. I think they're fuel tanks. Them bits are. Right, now these I'm fitting now are a different colour, but I just find it easy just to fit them now, because as you'll see in the painting video, they are pretty easy to mask. So all the front half's white, and then the back half's like a grey colour. But I'll show you the colour call outs in the next video. You'll actually see the painting of the interior. And then the same on the other side. Again, make sure you've got them the right way around, because they are handed. Same on the back. I'm not sure what these parts are. Right, now we're going to glue the sides to the lower hull. And there's only a little tiny bit of a contact point where to glue them. So what I do, I put the glue on first, hold them in position till it's dry, and then I'll put all the bulkheads and everything else what I can on, just to keep it square. You'll see in a sec what I do when I get to it. Okay, so that's one side. I'll give it about 5 minutes for the glue to dry. I just knocked it a little bit there, that's why I'll have to straighten it back up. Okay, I'll just leave it to dry a little bit. Well, once all the bits are glued in the middle, it makes it a lot stronger. But what I want, like I said, what I'm doing is just letting the glue just go off a little bit, but it's still movable, because you don't know if you're square or not. This one wouldn't take. I had a right game with this one, but it does go eventually. I'm just putting the glue bottles against it, try and keep it at least a bit square, and then give it a few minutes to dry off. Now these parts now will square it all up, so I can put these in and then wrap the glue around it, wrap the masking tape around it. That'll square it all up, and then I'll leave it then overnight to really harden off. So the glue's still wet, so all it is a bit of masking tape, to me masking tape. Squeeze the parts together, not too hard, because you don't want to bend it, the middle piece, bend it out of shape. Right, so that's that piece fitted. Just making sure it's still on properly. And this is the front piece. Again, wrap the tape around it. The more parts you can fit, the more square you'll get it. And I'll leave the tape on then overnight. Okay, so that's that bit done. Right, this is the back piece I'm gluing on now. Okay, so I'm just gluing the front part on now. Just making sure you use all the masking tape. Okay, so that's helped squared it all up. And what I do then, I've got a, you didn't see me do it, but I've got a steel rule, and I just measured the front part, the back part and the middle part just to make sure I've got it square. Just make sure it's square all the way down. I'm just running the glue down now just to make sure it's really glued strong, but watch you don't accidentally run it down the tape, because you'll get a glue mark then on where the tape is. So I run it both sides. I've just moved the back just to make sure the glue doesn't capillary and glue it together. So I'll just keep running the glue around. Okay, so that's them bits done. Now we're starting on the fans now. Again, there's two of these. All the ejector pin marks are on the inside, so I ain't got to worry about none of them. There's a couple of little seam lines to clean up, but both sides are the same, so you haven't got to worry about getting them the wrong way round. Alright, so it's all dry. That's just dry fitting that. Right, so I'm just taking all the tape off now. That's been left to dry overnight. It's really strong now as well, so you know, I'm going to worry too much about it moving. There is still a little bit of movement in it, but nothing to worry about. I do reuse the masking tape as well. So all these parts are just pulling out. So there we go, and that's dead square. See the movement then. Alright, we're back to the fans now. There's just two parts. I'm gluing the inside because you're not going to see that. Just watch the glue doesn't ooze through, so you leave fingerprints. There's 4 of these to do, and there's little pins on the one and a couple of holes on the other side, so it makes lining up easy. But just make sure you go on the right way around, because it's like a wedge shape, so the one end's a bit smaller than the other ends. Again, just watch your fingers. This is still part of the fans. You don't need to glue this bit, but I chose to. Okay, so that's just make sure that on the end there's like a tab sticking out. Make sure you sand it down because it'll stop your fit. So these just simply drop in, and then I just run the glue around it. It'll only fit in one end as well because the other end's a bit too big, so it'll just go too far. And when you push it in, there's like a little lip in the middle, so you can only push it so far down. Right, so you've got 4 of them to do. Right, so this is still the fans. There's 4 of these to fit, and they just simply push in when I'm not dropping it. They just simply push in a bit of glue just to hold them in position. Just make sure they're square. Dead simple. There's 2 sprue tabs on each of these, but they're on the ends, so I'll just make sure you don't cut it too far and make it too small. Let me know as well what you think. Do you want to see the parts being cut off, or would you rather me cut them and clean them up off camera and then gluing them together? Just let me know your thoughts. These little bits are fiddly. But don't push too hard because you'll push the fan bits too far. I did do that on one of them, but luckily the glue was still wet, so I managed to redo it. Oops. Once you've got them on, just give them a little push down. Right, so now we're gluing the fans now onto these. Oh, sorry, we're doing the pipes first. Now these are handed, so I might make sure you get them the right way around and the right way up as well. They're just fitting the pipe on the other end. Now there is another bit of pipe to fit on the ends as well, but I'll show you that when we get to it. So what I'm doing now is just, now we're fitting the fans now. Okay. Same again. I'm putting the part on first and then run the glue around. But there's a couple of where the parts join together. I'm just making sure they're on the sides where you can't see them. I have cleaned them up. I did sand them off camera, but I'm just making sure. So when you look down, you'll just see the clean part. Now these are these other pipes I'm fitting. There's a little tab on the end, so you can only get it one way. Or you gotta make sure you get them the right one on it on the right side. Right, these now are just simply push in. Always dry fit your parts as well, because I never noticed, but there's a little there. Look, there's a little sprue nib. So when you push it in, you couldn't do it because it was on. So all I done is nipped it off and it went straight in. Just make sure they're square. These parts here I'm fitting are all parts of the fan, to do with the fan. Now on that there's a little slot that glues together. All you gotta do is just make sure you get it the right way. Just keep looking at your drawing, your instructions. A lot of the steps they've got like zoomed in sections so you can actually see how the parts fit. Again, there's little slots, you can just make them out. All you gotta do is make sure you get them the right way. You don't want them parts sticking out, you want them sticking in. In fact, if you can make that out, look. Well, what I'll do, I'll fit them again, let the glue dry a little bit, fit it into the actual lower hull, and then I can square them all up then and leave them to dry. They are a little bit out, but they'll all square up, and then when I've got them in, just run the glue around them just to make sure. Right, now we're on the front now. Again, make sure you go on the right way. There's an actual, in the instructions, there's like a side elevation so you can see, making sure you got it the right way, because you can get this the wrong way up. And then once you're sure, then just run the glue around. And the actual picture, I think, is a 1:1 scale, so you'll know you've got it right then. This is the top front bit. Again, just clamp it up, run the glue around it. And on the back again, there's ejector pin marks. So just make sure you've got it right, because it won't sit flat. Okay, so, and there's like a couple of grab handles to glue on, and a little radio to glue on as well. Right, these are the handles now I'm fitting. I'll give them a few minutes to dry off, then I can remove the clamps in. Again, make sure it's the right way up. So you're looking at it now from the top. The wider bits at the top. Okay, so I'm just squaring it up. It's all the same colour as well when you spray it. Now we're fitting the handles now. There's only two. Again, try fit it just to make sure. And what I do then, I'll fit them, let the glue harden off, and then I actually sand them in position. And that way then they're easier to sand while they're glued in. Because I have snapped handles before trying to sand them. You could make new ones out of some metal wire if you wanted to, but the plastic's that soft, it sands really nice, and it's only a couple of swipes with the sanding stick and it's done. Right, now we're back to the back part now. Again, make sure you sand all the ejector pins off, because there's ejector pins on both the mating surfaces. And all I did was just in the holes, just put a bit of glue in, clamp it up, then I'll run the glue around then. Again, just make sure you keep your glue away from the clamps, because you don't want the glue running behind it. So that's the top inside piece I'm gluing there. There's no more pieces to glue on the top piece. Right, again now, this is where we are now. These are two back pieces. They're only one piece. There's no parts to glue together there. So all you gotta do is just make sure you go them the right way. Again, everything's only dry fitted. Don't glue the back piece in. I've left that loose, so I can just take it out. Now this piece now is like a control panel. So it's about 3 bends to do on this. And he'll fit it on the front driver side, and then there's a decal to go on it. Right, so that's all you have to do there. Again, just make sure you got it the right way up. Right, now this is like a little like platform sort of a thing. If you leave this loose, you can take it out, so you can see all the engine detail and that. And also it makes it easier to paint as well, because it's a different colour. Again, on this piece I'm putting in, there's ejector pin marks on the bottom. So again, just sand them out. You'll have no problems. You'll soon know, because you'll get like a gap and you can't squeeze it together. So I'm just gluing more parts in again. I'm just running the glue over these just to make sure. and these parts are handed as well again, so just make sure you get them the right way. Okay, again that's all the same colour and fit in there as well. Right, so again, now this part here I'm only dry fitting. Out there's where the actual gun barrel and that fits onto that bit. So I'll make sure that's really glued in well when I come to do it. But you don't lose that, you can still see plenty of detail underneath it. So that's the floor piece I'm just putting in. Like I said, I'm only dry fitting it. Oops. Like I said, everything's only dry fitted. It was easier to put that piece in first and then fit that piece I've just fitted. Right, so that's where we are up till now. Well, as you can see with that flooring, you do lose a lot of the detail, so it's best just to leave it loose. Now this is the seat now I'm fitting. There's only two parts to this. Again, it's all the same colour apart from the actual cushion bit. That I glue on and then I'll just paint that with a paintbrush. It's a lot easier doing that. Obviously make sure you got it the right way. And just make sure you're square as well. So that's your seat. This is just a little piece I'm fitting. There's only one on one side, that's it. So just make sure it's square. So that piece is finished with now. Right, now we're starting on the outside. So this is the front I'm gluing, and again they're handed as well, so just make sure you get them the right way. Just careful when you're grabbing as well, because there's a lot of small parts. You don't want to be breaking the parts off. And there's like two little pins on these, and there's two holes, and that'll get you in line then. Always dry fit. Just make sure it all fits good. Okay, this is all part of the front. Again, all you gotta do, a little bit of glue just to hold it in position. The actual idler wheels fit on these. Your sprockets. They're just nice and gentle. Your front ones are different to your back as well. There you go. So they're just pushing. Job done. Again, these are both the same, so you can't get these the wrong way. And you can just put them on anywhere. There's no like a right way for it. Just make sure you get it on the actual edge right. Okay, so that's them fitted. Now them parts actually square the other parts up. Now we're on the back. As you can see, these are a bit different. There's two little holes. Oh, you'll see on this one. See, there's like a hole there. Look, and you just got a pin on the top. Line it up, and then just follow the outside. Then, so you know you're right. Then look. Right, now these are now we're starting on the sprockets, and there's like little caps in, poly caps in, so you can take them on and off. And there's a little pin up, so you can just squeeze them together, and then you'll know then you're in the right place. So what I do as well, you don't actually see me do it. I've cut a link off the tracks, and I'll dry fit the links just to make sure I've got them square, because you don't want the teeth out of the line, because it'll be hard to fit the tracks in. But in all fairness, with that pin it really helped. So all I'm doing now is just running the glue around. That's M2. Now we're starting on the actual wheels now. And there's two different sorts. There's no alignment parts on this. They'll only go on one way, so you can have them run your glue around and just fit them then. But all you gotta do is make sure you keep the two wheels separate, because there is two different sorts, and they're a really nice fit. Really detailed as well, the wheels are. Oops, I didn't quite put enough glue on that one. Right, these are the other sort of wheels now. There is a slight difference, you can tell, so if you do mix them up, don't worry, because there is a slight bit of difference. So what I try and do as well, I try and, where the sprue nibs are, I'll try and line them up with the two on the two wheels, so when I sand them, I'm sanding two together, so it makes it, it's a bit quicker. These you just got to make sure are square, because there is a bit of movement in these. there is a little pin. I mean to say, there's like a little pin you can line them up. Right, now we're starting on the suspension now. Now it's really nice. It's a workable suspension as well. Now all I'm doing there were some ejector pin marks in there, so all I've done is just moved them, and then I've just put a bit of super glue inside, and then there's like a springs in each of them, and that's what makes them workable. So make sure as well you get it the right way. So I'll glue the one end first, wait till it dries, and then I'll do the other end then. Now I don't glue the other end. All it does, there's like a, you'll see in a minute, there's like a little round loop that hooks in over the part. I'll show you, you'll see in a sec when I get to it. There, look, see? You can see like a little raised bit. So all you got to do is put that. Make sure you get them flat as well, because you can't get the two parts together if the spring's not flat. All I did there was just, there's a little ejector pin I missed, because they do stick out quite far, so it'll stop you gluing the parts together. Well, once you get the spring in right, the gap closes up really nice. There's 3 of these. There's 3 one way, and then 3 the opposite way. And then there's 2 lots of road wheels that glue on each one of these. So all I'm doing is just squeezing them together with my tweezers and then run the glue around. And that way then you got no worries of the glue running under your fingers. Right, so that's the first bit of the suspension. Now these now are the other sides now. So again, bit of glue. I'll put the glue, you don't have to super glue it in, but I do, it just helps line it, keep the part aligned. All you got to do is just make sure you get your springs in right, because you can't get the parts close together. It's a really nice job Amusing Hobbies done of this, to have all this workable. You'll see in a bit, you can actually see it working. I'll show you in a bit. Again, hold the part with your tweezers, run the glue around. I'm using the quick setting here. There's what I'll do then, when they're all dried and glued together, I'll just run the sanding stick around it, just to make sure it's all smooth. Right, now we're still on the suspension, but this is the other part now, where the actual other rad wheel fits to. Again, push it through, and then there's a little there where the end of the spring clips do, look, and all you got to do is just give it a little push down, because if it's not pushed down you can't get the two surfaces together. So that's the one piece that's workable, and then when it fits to the actual hull, that's workable there as well. Again, just make sure it'll all squeeze together. I'll just use some clips now just to hold it, just to make sure. There, so you've just seen it click in then. The spring wasn't quite pushed in enough. And that's exactly the same. Make sure you keep your glue away from your clamps. You don't want the glue capillarying underneath the clamp, because when you remove the clamp, when the glue dries, you get all glue marks. I'm just making sure it's all square. Right, so that's what you got, that's them pieces to fit. Just doing the other side now so you can see. So all you do is just push the pin through. You didn't see me do it on camera, but I just had to push a little bit of a drill bit through just to square it up a little bit, because they were quite hard to push through. But once you've done that, it just moves the spring a little bit, just enough to get it so you can get the pin through. Okay, so that's that. Again, get your tweezers, just push them down. It is a really nice, fully working suspension. Also the tracks as well. Looking at the instructions, the tracks just clip together, so the tracks should be workable. It should all be workable when it's done. So not quite got the spring in right there then. But when you push it together, it squeezes the spring down, so it closes the gap up. See, look, see, it's all workable, look. And all I'm doing now is fitting them. So there's like a bit that you can see the spring going across, and it lines up with them slots on the suspension and there, and I just push them on. You don't need to glue them on because there's little caps that go on the end, so that will stop them coming off. But you can see, look, all workable. Right, now all we do now, these are little bits that go on the engines. I'm nearly at the end now.